Hi, I'm Ben Salinas, and welcome to this Magic Makers instructional DVD on the newspaper tear. We've got a lot of versions to teach you today, some that are really simple, some that will set up in about 20 seconds, and some of the more classic versions that take a little more setup, but have some big payoffs at the end. The idea here is for you to choose the one that fits you, that fits your performing style, and that fits your venue. So you may pick several of these that you like. So grab some newspapers, grab something cold to drink, sit back, let's get started. We're going to start you off with the classic of magic, the Tony Saidini Torn and Restored newspaper. There it is. Let's learn it. Okay, now this is the explanation for the Tony Saidini newspaper tear. It takes a little bit of work, but the payoff is really nice. To start off, I use a newspaper that's not a full-size newspaper. It's about 20 by about 12 by 20. You'll find these; they're pretty easy to find. You need 4 copies of the newspaper to do the trick. Set 2 copies aside. Work with just these 2 at first. You need to cut a section off this one newspaper. And the section needs to be about 1/3 of the size of the front of the newspaper from the top down. So we're going to guesstimate right about here. It's about 1/3. You don't need to be exact, and this doesn't need to be particularly neat. Cut right down the side here. The rest of the newspaper you can throw away. We don't need it. Take your 1/3 piece and we're going to glue it onto our newspaper. For that, we'll use some rubber cement. And we're going to glue down the spine and across the bottom, creating a little pocket. Right down the spine. Right across the bottom. Great thing about using rubber cement is if you get any excess that isn't where it's supposed to be, you can rub it off with your finger. There we go. Line the corner up. And you can still position it too, which is also very nice. There we go. What we've done is create a little pocket here that we're going to use a little later on. Once that's done, set that one aside. Take your other 2 newspapers. We need to cut another section out. This time we need to cut a section that's about 2/3 the size of the newspaper. As long as it goes below this crease, we're safe. So we'll go about 1 inch below the crease here. Okay, here's our piece. We'll glue this one on in the same way to form a larger pocket. So again, we'll glue just down the spine and across the bottom. Here we go, that should do it. Once again, line up the corners. And paste it down. This is one of the nice things about rubber cement is you can reposition it quite a bit before it finally sets. Rub off the extra. If you rub it with your fingers, it'll ball right up and come off. Here we go. Now we've created a larger pocket. Okay. Now from this larger pocketed one, we're going to fold it up. You fold the bottom up, give it a crease, fold the left side underneath. Give it a crease. Now we're going to take this first corner, not both of them, just first corner, and we're going to fold it all the way down so that it extends beyond the side of the newspaper. Then we'll take that little extra piece that's sticking over and fold that back. Give it a crease. Now we want to fold the bottom upwards, but we don't want these two pieces to meet exactly. We want to leave a lip, about half an inch will do, and give it a crease. There we go. Take this packet, flip it over towards you, so you're looking at this side, your little lip should be at the bottom here. And this gets inserted into our small pocket. Open up your newspaper. Open up the pocket and slide it in. There we go. It should just fit inside that pocket. Now you're all set to perform. Hold the newspaper at the top. Your left hand is going to hold this little pocket shut. Your right hand opens out the newspaper, goes to the bottom corner. You show the back. Show the inside, and come back to the back again. Close the paper up so the crease is to your right. Take your first finger, and you're going to rip to the crease. Open the paper out, and your right hand tears the page away. Right hand pieces go over the left hand pieces. Now you turn your body to your left, and you show the inside of the newspaper. Your right hand comes down, grabs everything from the bottom, and brings it up to the top, keeping your first finger in between these packets. Right hand grasps everything, turns back face forward to the audience, and then turns a quarter turn to the right, or clockwise. Your left hand runs down the left side to crease it. You stick your first finger in, your left first finger goes into where your right first finger is, into this gap here. Now it shoots across, creates another tear. Open out the newspaper, your left hand tears. You should have two sheets in your left hand. These two sheets go on top of the right hand sheets. Everything is now given a turn to the left, or counterclockwise. Now your right hand is going to fold everything in half. What's going to happen when you fold is it's going to push that packet back out as you're folding. So let that packet ride till it sticks out just a bit. Don't worry, it won't be seen. Just to the point where you can fold everything in half. Hold everything face up. Your first finger goes into this gap here. Now the gap you want to go into is not the gap where your left first finger is, but the next section over. So as you're doing this, your fingers move to the next section, so you're right up against the gimmick there. Your hand shoots to the right, open out, and tear one more time. There we go. The right hand pieces go in front of the left hand pieces. Turn everything clockwise. The left hand folds its pieces over and then unfolds everything so that now you're staring at your gimmick. Tear the left hand side off, place it on top. Now you want to hold everything horizontally towards the audience so that they can't tell how many packets are here. Give everything one more turn, this time counterclockwise. You're going to fold the entire left side over to the right, give it a crease, and then open everything out again. Okay, we're keeping our gimmick nice and squared up over here. One final tear. All the pieces come together. Once again, bring the hands down so that they're horizontal with the audience. And this whole top packet is going to get moved down, diagonally down and to the right. You want to move it down far enough that the edges are clean, so there's no torn edges protruding. Your right hand is going to go into a gap here. Let's see if I can show you the gap. The gap is in between these single sheets and this first big folded sheet. Now it should be a pretty natural opening. That's why you have that little lip there that we created earlier, that little extra ½ inch or so. Your thumb goes into it, then you insert all your fingers into it with your hand palm down. Grasp everything in your right hand, and by opening your right fingers, you're going to spring this front packet open. This is why you wanted all of this down out of the way. So, a little more exposed. Your fingers push, and this whole front packet opens out. This is a nice flash restoration. You opened it. Now, if you notice, your left hand is in perfect position to grab this little tab, this little extra piece that we folded over earlier. From behind, you're going to grab that piece, and you're going to bring your hands together, which now puts all those pieces right into that pocket. Everything's in the pocket now. Your right hand comes underneath, opens out the newspaper. You can show front and back. Come to the top. Unfold the newspaper one more time, show the front and back. And then just like the first display, your left hand holds this little pocket closed. Your right hand comes down, opens the paper. You show the front and back. Hold it up, take your applause, set it aside, and you've just done one of the best newspaper tears out there, the Tony Sidini Torn and Restored newspaper. Now we have the Simplicity Tear by George McCaffney. wrap the little package. There you have it. Here's the explanation for the simplicity tear by George McCarthy. For this, we use a full-size newspaper, and I use just an outer sheet, an outer double sheet, and an inner double sheet. Those 4 sheets of newspaper. First, we'll set up our gimmick, our restored packet. Take your newspaper and just fold it up. Now, you don't want to fold it really neatly. You want it to be kind of a little off center. Fold it to quarters. Maybe fold it up a little bit more like this. Fold it over like that. Now, it doesn't matter what this packet looks like. Take a rubber band, wrap it around the packet. This is your restored packet. This goes on the floor. Now, George McCarthy's original idea was to set this in the footlights. But since we don't have footlights that often, it's easier to have your table or your bag on stage with you, or the trunk that you're performing out of. This goes on the floor behind it. Take your performance newspaper, the one that's going to get torn, and again, this is the same 2 center sheets. Now, all we have to remember as we're folding and tearing this is to keep this section right here, the section that's showing on your gimmick, that section needs to stay towards you so that you can fold it up just like this. You're going to tear this paper up and put the pieces back together so it looks like this packet, as close as you possibly can. Show the newspaper, page through it, really play up how fair it is, how they can really look at any page, and begin to tear the newspaper. Now, I just make sure that this corner that's going to be exposed later on just always stays towards the audience. And that's the easiest way to keep track of it. Tear in half again. Your tears really don't matter how you do it. Tear absolutely any way you want. You can tear into strips if you'd like. Now, don't tear it up too much because you need to have a little bit of bulk to fold down to this size. So now I turn it towards me so I can see what I'm doing. If I've lost it, I find that page. It looks like you're just paging through the pieces. Bring it up to me, then fold everything in half. Fold the right side in, fold it up one more time. So you've got a pretty close approximation of your gimmick packet. No one ever sees them both very closely. Pull a rubber band out of your pocket and band it together in the same way. Now that you have both packets looking pretty much the same, remember this is hidden on the floor behind my table, I show this very freely, show it on all sides, and as I'm showing it, I absentmindedly drop it. Now you drop it and then very quickly duck down behind the table and pull out your restored packet. If you do it quickly and offhandedly, it'll go right past the audience. Next thing is, give it a couple seconds, do some magic motions, then pull the band off. You don't want to restore this like right away. You want to give it a couple seconds. Toss the band aside, make your magic pass, and unfold the newspaper. It's very simple. It's all based on a little bit of acting and some time misdirection. And that's why he called it the simplicity newspaper tear. Have fun with this one. Okay, now we're ready for a trick called Tearless. Let's check it out. That's what I call tearless. Now this is the explanation for tearless. Now for the tearless newspaper tear, you're sort of cutting right to the chase. You don't actually tear the paper on stage. You start with the paper pre-torn. Now what you'll need, a newspaper. I use the center two sections of the newspaper. So it's 2 full sheets. And you need some pieces of newspaper. Now these can be torn from the same newspaper, or they can be torn from a different issue of the same newspaper. I'm using the Mick newspaper, so it's nice and colorful. You need about 10 or 12 of these sheets, and a couple pieces of stiff cardboard. Now, take one of those pieces of stiff cardboard, and we're going to glue it into one of these pieces. We're going to make a little gimmick for ourselves using some rubber cement here. Slather some glue on it. And lay it on a piece of paper. Some more glue across the back. Nice thing is you don't have to be too neat with this. Get some across the newspaper a bit too. So we want that to stick also. There we go. Take another one of your torn sheets. Place it right over the top. And that's one of our gimmicks. Make a second gimmick the same way. Speed things up, I'm just going to glue the sheets of paper to each other. I won't put too much glue on the cardboard itself. That'll work. Okay, there's our second gimmick. Okay, so you've got your gimmick made. This one's going to go inside the newspaper. Open up your newspaper to the center sheet, and we're going to glue it right into this section here. So it's about, let me see, probably about halfway over and about halfway down. Let's get some glue on here. Now when we glue this, we don't want to glue all the way to the edges. We just want to glue the center. We want the edges to be loose. Take this sheet and glue it just below the halfway mark on the newspaper and just to the left of the halfway mark on the newspaper. There we go. That leaves these little corners free. This is good, we'll need that. If any rubber cement did get on there, just use your fingers and rub it. It'll bead right up and come off. Okay, now we're going to fold this newspaper. Lay the newspaper on the table, face down, so the front page is laying down. Take the top 2 pages and fold them back. Take the bottom 2 pages, which is the face, and fold them under. So now, on your right side, we have 2 single sheets, we have the spine of the newspaper, and then 2 more single sheets. Open up the top 2 single sheets, so the back's facing you again. Take the spine, and we're going to fold it over to the halfway mark and give it a crease. Now take these left 2 pieces, they get folded back over and creased. Now we take everything on the right, that's 4 single sheets, and we fold them all over. line them up, and give them a crease. Now starting from the bottom, take this bottom section and fold it up to the halfway mark on the newspaper. Okay, one more time, fold up. So you folded what's left about in half. And then for the final fold, you want to fold everything under. There we go. Now, you have 4 loose pieces up here. These are the 4 corners of the newspaper. Take the top 2, fold them back, give them a little crease. Take the next 2, fold them back, not quite as far, and give them a crease. This is so that later on you can grab those 2 pieces pretty easily. Now, if we turn everything around, this is how you'll be looking at it when you go to restore your newspaper. So you want to, this allows you to grab part here and part here without having to fumble around too much. Okay. Once this is ready, take all the rest of your loose sheets and your one gimmick, and they all get stacked in the front and in the back, camouflaging your centerpiece. Come out to perform, take the side of your case, and page through all the single pieces. It'll be pretty easy to feel your gimmick. Now you want to end up, after you page through all these pieces, showing both sides of them, with all the single sheets in front. The gimmick should be facing right at you. Get everything packed down into a fairly neat little packet. Take this last single piece, the one with the cardboard in it, and that goes on the very front. Reach in your pocket, take out a couple of large paper clips, and we're going to clip all these individual pieces together. Now we're clipping cardboard to cardboard. And clip it over on this other side as well. Again, clipping cardboard onto cardboard. There you go. Now to restore everything, that's why I have these 2 little folds there. Your left hand grabs these upper 2 pieces. Your right hand grabs the bottom 2 pieces. Now for the restoration, you're going to toss forward, releasing everything except for these corners. The packet will fall open, and you immediately pull your hands apart. Give the paper a shake to fold it. And now you can show the front page, inside the front pages. Now you can't show the center, so what I do is I turn my body to the right. I show the back page and inside the back page. And this gives the illusion that you've seen the entire paper. Front, inside the first page, back page, inside the back page. Fold everything up, set it aside. And the great part about it is the reset for this is incredibly quick. Lay your newspaper on the table. You have your packet over here. And just refold it as we learned in the performance. And you're immediately reset to do the trick. Fold up, fold up, fold under, pull your tabs down. You're ready to go. These come off into your pocket, and you place this whole packet, just the way it is, into your case. And that is tearless. Here's something for those of you magicians that do MC work. Maybe it's your local comedy club, or you MC a competition or a convention. This is something you can throw in. It's quick and it's easy, and the magicians will get a big laugh out of it. Let's check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Comedy Club tonight. We have some great magicians coming up here. We have some great comedians coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, before we get to our first comedian, I wanted to show you a little piece of magic. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the classic torn and restored newspaper. Notice my hands are empty, nothing up my sleeves. I'd like you to check out the newspaper. Look at the pictures. I want you to memorize one of the headlines you see, memorize one of the pictures you see, and we will completely destroy and restore this newspaper. Don't look away. A little cut. It looks like you tear the newspaper. In fact, it even sounds like you tear the newspaper. For those of you that are sitting up here in the front row, it even smells like you tear the newspaper. But the cool thing about this trick, oh, okay. All right, sorry, I have to cut this a little bit short, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready for our headliner. So, Pete, hang on to this for me. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to bring out here to the Comedy Club tonight, back from an extended engagement in the men's room, Mr. Okay. Sure. Oh, no problem, no problem. We need a couple more seconds, I'm sorry. So let's get back to the torn and restored newspaper. Mike, toss it out. Great, thank you very much. Where were we at? Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the torn and restored newspaper. There it is, completely restored, every single page. You can check it out. There's the ads. There's the inside. You're done. We've done it. The torn and restored newspaper. Thank you. Okay, this is the MC gag newspaper tear. Now, as you probably saw from the performance, it's pretty evident how it works. Now, all you need is 2 duplicate newspapers. Again, I like to use 2 center sheets, so you get 4 sheets of newspaper. Take one, crumple it up, and toss it to a friend off stage. That's it. Take out your regular newspaper, start to tear it. Now, this is perfect for magicians. They'll definitely get the joke. Rip it all up, crumple it up into a ball, as if the act is ready to perform. Say, oh no, so toss this off the stage to your friend. He catches it. You say, ladies and gentlemen, and then, oh, what, he's not ready yet? No problem. Let's continue our trick. Will you toss that paper back to me? And of course, he tosses the restored paper back to you. Make your best magical motion. Unfold it, show every single page. And you've just done a really funny and really easy gag. It's great for MCs. It'll last about 3 or 4 minutes and eats up that perfect amount of time. That's it. Now, this is a newspaper tear you really want to keep in your emergency kit for those times when you're up against the wall and you've got to come out with something strong, but you've got no props on you. We call it the commando newspaper tear, and it's just that. That's it, the commando newspaper tear. Let's learn it. Now it's time to learn the commando newspaper tear. Now, the great thing about this tear is if you are completely stranded at a show and have no props whatsoever, you can set this up in about a minute, 30 seconds. And the great thing is you don't necessarily need tape or glue. You can even use a piece of sticky gum. I'll show you in a second here. Now, for this, all we need are 2 single sheets of paper. And we'll consider this the front, the side with a picture on it. And this will be the back. Now, all you have to do is glue one piece onto the other. Take the right-hand piece, turn it face down, and we're going to glue the pieces like this, gluing the upper right corner of one sheet to the upper left corner of the other sheet. Now, here's the cool thing. You can use double-stick tape. You can use rubber cement. You can use a piece of regular tape. You can use a piece of gum if you have to. This is commando. Anything you can find that's sticky, shove it on there, and you're good to go. So, for our purposes, we use a little piece of double-stick tape. Right there. You want to overlap the sheets about that much. So I guess about 3 inches on each side. Doesn't have to be perfect, remember? This is on the fly, this is quick, this is commando. Now you're going to take one sheet and you're going to fold it up. So we'll go with this sheet. Start by folding it in half a couple times, and then crumple it a bit. So you want a crumpled look, but you also want some folds in there to make it a little easier for you later on. There we go. Your gimmick's ready to go. From the front, everything looks normal. The way you hold it, I hold it in the right hand. I place my right hand right over that folded up paper. So now I can pretty casually show both sides of the paper. You don't want to do a real studied show of the back page. Just a little quick page. Remember, this is commando. Now you start tearing. This little packet will stay right there, so you're pretty free. You can let go and tear the paper up. If you're worried, keep your thumb over it. Doesn't matter. Start to rip up the paper. One more time. Now, you're going to crumple everything up, and you want to make a ball that looks approximately like this little balled up paper here. Crumple everything up. Now you have two separate balls. You have the restored paper facing you. You have the torn up paper facing the audience. Crumple up that torn up paper. Turn the whole packet over in your hands. Make your magic pass. And then begin to unfold your restored packet. And when you open everything out, you'll notice that the restored packet is in the exact same position as your original packet was. Or excuse me, your torn packet is in the same position as the original restored packet was. So you can hold the newspaper in the exact same way, show the front, quickly show the back, fold it up, toss it off the stage. You've just done probably the world's quickest torn and restored newspaper using almost no props whatsoever. Okay, now we have a killer version of torn and restored newspaper. This is the signed torn and restored newspaper. Here it is. I have a newspaper. All the pages are different, and I need someone to sign one of the pages. So if you would call stop, you want 2 or 3 or...
Stop,
four,
right there.
4 or 5, up to you.
5.
5 it is. All right. Come over here and sign that as big as you can. Perfect. All right, let's do it. You completely restored the newspaper. Every single page is there. And of course, there's the signature. Any page, any signature, anytime, anywhere. That's the signed torn and restored newspaper. This is the signed torn and restored newspaper. Now there's some out there on the market already, but they take a lot of prep. This one is quick, it looks great, and any page can be signed. So let's check it out. Now I start with these smaller newspapers, the little half-size newspapers. These are usually only about 7 pages, and that's about all you need. So use the 2 double sheets for this one. Give us lots of room to write on. Now all we need for it, this is your whole gimmick, 1 cover sheet from a duplicate newspaper. Put the cover sheet on the outside of the original, and you're ready to go. This is easy. Now, to start off with, you're going to page to the newspaper. Now, you can't show this first section here. So I show the cover, I hold it in my left hand, and I open up the first 2 pages to show pages 6 and 7. Flip, open the next page, now you're showing the center. One more single page, and you're showing pages 2 and 3. Now all I've done is just not shown these first 2 and these last 2. So it still looks very fair. Your spectator has a free choice of any one of these pages, any part of any one of these pages. So we'll just take this one for example. In fact, we'll use the one from the performance. I'll put a little mark on it here. There we go. Show the mark, let everybody get a good look at it. And it's important that they actually put their name or something they'll recognize. If they just put a big X or something, that could be a duplicate. So make sure it's a name, have them write the date, anything they want. Close the newspaper up. Now, all we're going to do, we're only going to be tearing this outer sheet. That's all that gets torn during the whole trick. This just gets folded up. So with your finger, stick it in between the first 2 sheets, the back sheet, which is your duplicate, and the regular sheet. Your first finger starts a little rip, tear it in half. Now, your newspaper is back here facing you. These 2 single sheets are placed in front. The bottom is folded up, and the whole packet is rotated to the right, or clockwise. Take your first finger, and you're going to stick it into the first 2 sheets of paper. If you're not sure, start from the bottom. You'll see your fold right down here. You want to go into the single sheets above that fold. Your left finger shoots across, rips in half. The left-hand pieces go to the front. A little crease. Everything is now turned counterclockwise. Now your right hand is going to fold everything over to the left, crease it, and once again, the easy way to go, come down to the bottom, feel for your folded pieces, and stick your finger right above them. You want to get just those single pieces. Your first finger starts the tear, rips it, places it in front. Once again, the packet is turned clockwise. The left hand now folds everything to the right. Crease it up. The left hand starts a tear. It's getting a little thicker now, so it's a little harder to start that tear. So pull pretty hard. And again, I'm just pulling everything above my folded pages. So there's your original page. Open it out, rip it, square it up. Everything is turned clockwise. Let's fold one more time. We're going to fold from the left over to the right. Square everything up. Open out just those torn pages and rip everything in half. Now, if you pull towards yourself with your left hand, the rip will pretty much follow your restored sheet. Everything goes in the front. You want to fold this packet up just a little bit. Now, we're going to take this restored packet. We have the restored packet on top, facing you. We have all the ripped up pages on the audience side. You want to bring this restored packet down and to the right. Now, it helps if you bring your hands horizontal to the audience. Down and to the right, just enough to clear the edge. You don't want any torn pieces extending over the sides here. So here's your front view. So these 2 corners are clean. Now we're going to do the flash restoration that we did earlier. Your fingers are going to go into the very center here. There we go. So we're going up 2 folded pieces, right into the center. You can see it. That's our front page there. If you use the same numbers of sheets that I've used, you have some single sheets, you have a folded sheet, and you have a big opening. Your right fingers go in there. Now all you're going to do is you're going to spring this top sheet open. So you're here, bring everything face towards the audience, and spring it open. It's a nice flashy restoration. Your packet is now held here on the back, and your edges are clean because you pulled that packet down. Now we're going to slide everything over to the left hand. The left thumb will hold everything, as the right hand opens out the newspaper. The right hand comes over, right into the center of the newspaper. The thumb grabs. The right hand now opens the back. Right hand comes up, goes into the center of the newspaper, takes over that packet. Left hand opens up the newspaper, and now everybody can see the newspaper is completely restored. You move the hands back and forth, taking over the packet, to show the hands very clean and very empty. Now here's a ditching move. You're going to bring your right hand back behind the newspaper. When you do, you're going to grab this packet. Now you're totally covered from the front. Your right hand comes back, grabs the packet out of your left hand. So without the paper, right hand comes back, grabs that packet, and immediately takes it into the pocket, into your right pocket. Inside your jacket, you can stick it in your waist, in the waist of your pants. You can stick it, if you have a little inner pocket like I do in your jacket, stick it into that pocket. The hand keeps continuing down to the bottom of the paper, snaps the paper a bit. Now, if they had signed it in the center, they see their signature. If not, you have an added climax. If you turn to the page they did sign, they see their signature, the paper is completely restored, and you can hand it out. I feel this is just an incredible, incredible newspaper tear. It looks beautiful, the handling's wonderful, it's signed. The paper you start with seems to be the exact paper that you end with, and they get to take it home, and there's absolutely no work to be found in here whatsoever. Your only tough move is that little ditching move, to make sure that you handle that packet very cleanly when you're restoring, and that's it. I think this is probably the best newspaper tear on the whole DVD. Hope you enjoy it. This one looks great, and it's got a quick reset. We're talking like 5 seconds here. That's why we call it the Instant Reset Torn and Restored Newspaper. There it is. That's the Instant Reset Torn and Restored Newspaper. Now this is quick. This is great. It resets that fast. The original setup time, about a minute. Let's get into it. Now we're using the small little magazine size newspapers, the ones that come with your weekender newspaper. Now I only use 2 sheets. 2 whole sheets, so you get 4 individual sheets to use. You need 2 newspapers to set it up. This is your one-time preparation. We're going to form a little pocket. Now, I've actually marked off exactly where we're going to glue We're going to run glue down the side, across the bottom, and halfway up the front. So let's do that right now. I'll show you just how quickly we can get this thing set up and get it going. Right up the side, right across the bottom, and right along that forward edge, but only about halfway up. There we go. Lay this sheet on top of it. You don't have to be particularly neat here. There we go. Press it down. Rubber cement is amazing in that it holds about 30 seconds after you put it on, and you're ready to go. That's it. That's the entire prep. Now, what we've created is a little pocket here. This whole front piece is just one big pocket that you're going to drop the torn pieces into. This can be used over and over again. So, and if you make it out of the small, good quality newspapers that you get like in hotels, then this one will last you for a good 50 performances. Now, right before you perform, take a duplicate, 2 sheets, and they wrap around the gimmick. That's it. A little added move here, just to make things easier later on. From your gimmick pocket here, fold down the front sheet, not quite halfway. So now I have an easy opening to get into your pocket there. Fold it down, stick it right into the center of your regular sheet, and you're ready to go. Okay, here's the tearing sequence. We can show the newspaper, and as before, we want to fold over 3 pages to show the center. So you go right to the center of the newspaper, then show the front. So I've shown the center, this is the 1 page here, and the front. That's more than enough to show the newspaper. So in a minute, you'll be able to show a lot more. Now, you want to fold back 2 sheets here, and you'll see your duplicate back cover right there in front of you. Your first finger goes in there, starts the rip, you tear it in half. Again, right-hand pieces go in front of the left-hand pieces. Fold the back up towards you, give it a crease, and turn the whole thing clockwise. Fold it up. Again, your thumb can come down to the bottom and get into that gap between the folded side, the spine, and the single sheets. Comes up to the top. Your first left finger goes in there, creates the rip, and you tear. Left-hand pieces go in front. Now turn everything counterclockwise to the left. Your right hand folds everything over to the left, creases it. Once again, you want to get in between the folded pages and the single pages. Right hand comes to the top, rips across, and tears. Place everything on the front. Once again, everything gets rotated clockwise. One more time with the right hand. Right hand folds over to the left. Crease everything. Find your space in there. Now you want to be careful here. You're going to have this folded over sheet right here. Make sure you don't grab that. That's our little extra piece for later on. So when you come down here, try to avoid that folded over sheet. Run your thumb up. Right finger comes in and tears. Right hand pieces go in front. Everything now gets turned clockwise to the right. Now you'll notice this is where you should be. You should be able to see that folded corner there. If the folded corner is down the bottom left-hand side, if the folded corner is down the bottom left-hand side, you know you're in the right place. Fold the left over to the right, give it a crease, open out all the single sheets, and rip. Again, all the single pieces go to the front. We're going to turn the entire packet clockwise one last time. Bring everything down so it's horizontal with the audience. This is just like the tearing that we did for the instant reset. You want to bring this packet down and to the right. Just a quick little movement. You just want to clean this edge as before. You don't want any torn pieces extending over these two edges. It's the right edge and the bottom edge. Your right fingers are now going to go into the gap here. Once again, if you're looking from the bottom, there's one folded side, another folded side, and one more folded side. There's our cover. Your right fingers go in here, thumb below, fingers go inside, and as the hands rotate forward, your thumb holds the packet, turns palm up, and the fingers push open. So from here, that's your flash restoration. All the torn pieces are safely held back by the right thumb. Everything is turned clockwise to the right. Now if you look, your left hand is in perfect position to grab this free corner that we folded down earlier. Now if it pulls that corner out and the right hand turns palm down, those pieces go right into the pocket and square up. It's a very natural movement. Your hands are completely clean now. Open out the newspaper. Your left hand's up here at the top holding that packet closed, that little pocket. Stick your first finger in. Open out the newspaper and show everything completely restored. Your left hand holds this closed. Everything's clean. Your pieces are safely held inside the pocket here. Here's your restoration. Fold it up, set it aside. Now to reset, just dump out the pieces, toss them aside, hold your corner down, and stick it into 2 more sheets of paper, and you're automatically ready to go. That's instant reset. After years of doing the newspaper tear, I've cobbled together pieces of all the best newspaper tears out there. I call this one my favorite newspaper tear. That is my favorite newspaper tear. Okay, now we're ready for my favorite newspaper tear. This is the one that I perform all the time. It's got some advantages from some of the more complicated methods, and it has the advantage of being pretty quick to reset. Let's check it out. First things first, you need to make a gimmick. This is a very classic gimmick. Now this is just some wire, some fencing wire that I got from a store. You can use absolutely any kind of wire. You can even use a coat hanger if you need to, as long as you have the wire cutters to cut the coat hanger. Once you've made this, this will be the one you always use. Now it's about 2 inches thick on the sides and about 9 inches long. Now your size might vary a little bit, it might be a little bit thinner. about like that. Once you've made it, doesn't have to be particularly neat. Make it, lay it on the table, and now we're going to camouflage this. Grab some extra sheets of paper. I'm sure you have plenty laying around now. We're going to camouflage this. Now, I like to use something that's really busy, so use the want ads or the NASDAQ page is good for this. Lay your gimmick right into the center of the page here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger just to make it fit a little nicer. There we go. That should work. Lay it on there and try and get it as flat as you can. When you first make it, that'll be easy. After you perform with it a few times, as I have, it gets a little beat up, but still works fine. Lay it in the center of the paper. Now we're going to glue it down using our rubber cement here. And we'll throw some in the center too, just to be safe. There we go. Maybe just a bit more up in this corner here. I want to make sure we have a good seal all the way around it. There we go. Now that we've done that, take another sheet, and you don't want anything, again, too obvious, too glaringly obvious, like the ad here. So we'll stick this sheet face down, right on top of it. And now we press it down so the rubber cement will adhere. Press them down the center so that adheres too. We'll give it a couple seconds to let it dry, and then we're going to tear the edges of it. This is going to look like a piece of torn newspaper. So we've got it all glued down inside there, pretty well hidden. And now just tear. Now you want to stay about an inch or so away from your gimmick. The wire gimmick's right here. So we'll tear, but we'll stay about an inch away from it. There we go. All right, this is our gimmick. We're going to use this in just a second. First things first, we need to fold up our newspapers. Now for this, you're going to need 2 identical newspapers. Now all I use is the double outer sheet and a single inner sheet. All right? Take that, open it out on the table, and we're going to turn the single sheet face down so it's on our left side. So now we have a single sheet over here, single sheet over here. Now this spot right here, just below the center line, maybe about a third of the way over, and just to the left of the vertical center line, is where we're going to glue the packet at. So take our gimmick here, lay some glue in here. And fill this space up with glue. There we go. Your gimmick's going to get glued right into that spot. So we want to center it pretty much right on there. Lay it in. So there we go. There's our gimmick. All right, we'll get back to that in just 1 second. We'll let that sit. Now we need to prepare our other newspaper. This will be the newspaper that gets restored at the end. This will be the newspaper we destroy. this will be the one that gets repaired. So, take the paper, lay it face down on the table in front of you. There we go. We're going to take the back sheet and fold it back to the spine and give it a good crease. There we go. Now we'll take the front two sheets, the bottom two sheets, and fold them under, right to the spine, and give that a good crease. Now make sure your creases are nice and sharp so that restoration packet will come out properly at the end. Now the single sheet on top gets opened. The center, the spine, gets folded in to the fold line here, right to there, and gets creased. Again, nice sharp creases. Close that top sheet. And now you're going to fold everything. So this is 3 single sheets. All get folded back to the left. And again, a nice sharp crease. There we go. Now, this is our center, the center fold of the newspaper right there. We're going to take the bottom and fold it up right to that center crease. One more time. Fold it up. Give it a good crease. And for the final fold, we're going to fold it under and crease it. Take this packet, turn around so it's upside down to you now, and we're going to take 2 single sheets. 1, 2. We're going to fold them up. They don't have to go all the way up to the edge of the paper. Just fold them up. Take this final single sheet and fold it up so it just overlaps the other fold. These are 2 little tabs we're going to grab onto later on. So the packet will be in this position. Your right hand's going to grab this. Your left hand's going to grab this. So that's why we're doing that, to make it easier, so a little less fumbling at the big moment. Now, something interesting. If you turn it over and take a look, this is that exact spot that we marked on our other newspaper. This is where that restored packet, where the gimmick is glued onto. Take your gimmick face down, little tabs towards you. We're going to glue it right onto the spot right here. So, putting glue in the exact same spot that you put glue earlier, only this time, right in the center of the gimmick. Take your restored packet, press into the gimmick, make sure it adheres really well. There we go. And now you're going to fold these sides over it. Your wire gimmick will hold that newspaper securely in there. So now this is your gimmick sheet. This is it. That's in the center. Fold up your newspaper, and you're ready to perform. Now when I bring out the newspaper, since I can't show that inner sheet, because there's the gimmick hanging on the back of it, I show the front, I open the newspaper this way, I close it up, I turn to my left, and I just open the paper. Now I'm hiding that gimmick. No one can see that. But it looks very casual. I'm not trying to overprove anything. And done casually, looks like you're really showing the newspaper. Now for the tearing sequence. Get your finger in between the back sheet and the front 2 sheets. Your right finger comes over, starts to tear. Now be sure you hold this pretty securely. So when you lift everything up, this back page is going to want to fall away because it's got a little extra weight on it. So have a good grip on the paper. Tear in half. Now, I like to take this front sheet, and instead of putting it on the very front, sometimes I'll put it on the back. So now I can show both sides of the newspaper if I'd like. It's not necessary, but you can do it. So now we're going to tear the paper in strips. This will be pretty easy because this follows the grain of most newspapers. So you get a pretty clean tear. This goes on the front. You're going to tear it on the left. Now you've got to be a little careful here because your packet is pretty close to the edge of the newspaper. So you want to make sure that your tear is pretty narrow. And again, this follows the grain, so it's pretty easy. This goes in the front. Everything is now turned on its side. The restored packet is under my left fingers. Tear the newspaper in half. Place these pieces on the front. Now you've got one cover sheet on the back, one sheet that's covering up your gimmick. So again, you can show the newspaper pretty freely. Take that one sheet, bring it to the front as if you're just sort of paging through the sheets to show the big mess you have. Now I fold the top bunch of sheets down. I fold the bottom bunch up, trying to get it to approximately the size of your gimmick, approximately. And this also follows a move you're going to do in just a moment, this little folding. Once you've got the top and bottom folded down, your right hand is going to unfold the wire gimmick. It's going to unfold it and wrap it all the way around to the front and press. Take the other half of your wire gimmick in your left hand, fold it all the way around, and squeeze it. So now you've completely encased all those destroyed pieces. They're not going to go anywhere. You're staring right at your restored packet. Here's your little tabs. You're going to grab the top tab, 2 sheets, in your left hand, finger and thumb. Grab the bottom tab in your right hand, finger and thumb. And now for our restoration, you're going to toss the packet forward. So your hands turn palm up. In doing that, the weight of the packet will pull the paper open. The paper falls down, immediately separate the hands. And you get a great flash restoration. Now you're staring right at your gimmick packet here on that single sheet. Staring right at you, you're in the same position you were at the very beginning. This is where your restored packet was earlier. Give the paper a little pop. Show the front. As before, I show the inside page. I show the back. I open a bit like this. Again, not exposing the gimmick, just opening it just enough to look casual. Fold it back up. You've just done a very easy and very effective, and my favorite, newspaper tear. And now, one of the classics in newspaper tears. Let's learn it. And before we get started on this, I have to credit the brilliant mind of Gene Anderson for championing this method. You'll see this is very similar to my favorite method. This is where I got my idea for this. However, this requires a lot more setup, but there's a bigger payoff at the end. You can show the paper much more freely. So you decide. Okay, for this method, we need 2 full sheets of newspaper. An inside full sheet and an outside full sheet. Now to create this newspaper, you'll need 4 duplicate newspapers, but you can use the different sections over and over, so you'll be able to, with each separate section, be able to set up one of these newspapers. So, now what we need is a duplicate of this inside sheet, which we've got right here. We need to cut this in half, but we're going to go just to the right of the center, so a little over the halfway mark. There we go. So here's our halfway mark, and we've gone just a little bit past it. Now this gets glued inside the newspaper right onto your double sheet. So here we'll take away the back sheet just for a second to help you see where we're going to put this at. Here we go from your perspective. This is the inside double sheet. This is going to get glued right here. So let's get out our rubber cement. And glue this up here. Again, you can rub off the excess rubber cement with your fingers. There we go. And this is going to get glued on right here. There we go. That's it. That's our gimmick. Place this sheet back inside your regular sheet, your outside sheet. So now, if you page through your paper, you have a front page, you have the first inside page. This is your gimmick that we just made. You have the real inside page. And the back pages. And play that back if you need to make sure you got it in the right spot. Okay, once you've made one like that, you need to make another one just like it. Here's one we made earlier. And this is exactly the same. Here's our outer sheet, our fake sheet, our extra piece of paper, our inside, and the back. Now choose one of these two to be your restored packet. So we'll take this one, lay it face down on the table in front of you. Do it from your angle here. Face down on the table in front of you. We're going to take the top 3 pages and fold them back. Give them a good crease. Take the remaining pages and fold them under. And give them a good crease. Now we're going to open out all the pages, all the single pages. So go right to the spine of the newspaper. This spine gets folded to the halfway mark and gets creased. Now we take all these sheets, all these single sheets, fold them back over, give it a crease, And now everything from the left, all these single pages, all these single sheets, get folded one final time. Again, your creases have to be extremely sharp as you can make them. It's going to make the restoration packet pop open that much better at the end. Now, starting from the bottom, you want to fold up. Here's the original halfway mark of the newspaper right here. You want to fold up to that halfway point. Make sure you keep all the sheets inside. They'll tend to want to flay out to the sides. We fold up one more time. And then for the final fold, we fold under. There we go. So you've made your packet. Hold it so it's face up, so the writing is right side up. And you're going to fold down this outer corner. Fold it all the way down and give it a crease. The next sheet, the next single sheet, you're going to fold down just until it meets right here, meets this first crease. Now one more time, take the sheet you just folded and fold it all the way over and give it a crease. Take the next single sheet and fold it down so it just overlaps. So there we go. I'll give you a second to look at that. One more time. Fold the outside down. Fold the next sheet over just so it meets the crease. Then fold the whole thing over. Crease it. And fold this last piece down to here. Now this is your restoration packet, and these are those tabs you're going to grab at the end. So if we turn the whole thing upside down, your left hand is going to grab these pieces here. Your right hand is going to grab this piece here for the restoration at the end. Now this packet is going to get placed into our wire gimmick that we used before. Now this is that piece of wire surrounded by newspaper that we made in the My Favorite newspaper tear. This gets glued on right into the center. And the sides get folded over. Now this whole thing gets glued into our newspaper. Now the place we glue it into the newspaper is going to be on our gimmick sheet. That sheet that's a little extra long that we glued on. Not into the center. Not here. But right here. So it's the second sheet in. You want to glue this right about here, right about where this face is here. Same place we placed it in the My Favorite newspaper tear. A good amount of glue there. When you place your packet in there, you want to place it in there so that the tears, or the folds, excuse me, are towards the top. Place it right in that space. Press it down. And you're all set. Now showing the newspaper is a little bit different this time. We show the front. We show the back. And what you're going to do, you're going to take the back page and show it. You're going to come over, take the next single page, and show it. This is our original center. Now, you can't turn the next two pages over, or the next single page over. So when your hand comes over, you're going to take the next two pages So we're taking everything except the front cover. Grab these two and open them up. So what we've done, we've effectively passed right over that gimmick packet. But we still managed to show every page inside the newspaper. So your spectators will see the right number of pages. Let me close the paper. Now our tearing sequence, just like before, find the center, right where our torn packet is. Your right finger tears the paper cleanly in half. Right hand pieces go onto the front. You tear down the left side, or down the right side, excuse me. Again, avoiding our restored packet there. Now this does follow the grain of the newspaper, so you should get a pretty clean tear. This goes to the front. Tear one more time down this side. Again, want to make sure that you're far away from this restored packet. This goes to the front. Now we're going to turn everything horizontally and tear right down the center. These pieces go into the front. One more time on the right side, again avoiding your packet here. These go on the front. Now you can, if you want to, tear this little extra piece off here too. Doesn't matter. All the pieces go to the front. Now you're going to take your left hand and fold the wire gimmick all the way around to the front and squeeze it. Your right hand does the same thing, takes the right side of the wire gimmick, folds it all the way around to the front, and creases it. Now we have our restoration packet staring right at us. Here's the tabs you need to grab. Your left hand grabs these two tabs here, the top one and the folded over one. The right hand grabs everything else here. Turn to face the front. And again, we're going to toss downward, toss down, and we separate the hands all in one motion. And you get a nice instant restoration of the newspaper. Very flashy. You'll get a nice amount of applause here. You're staring right at your packet. That's okay. We're going to close things up. And now we're going to show the restored newspaper in the exact same manner that we showed the paper earlier. The back sheet. The next sheet. Everything except for the front sheet. And the front sheet is actually folded down for you, so it's easy to grab. It's easy to not grab, excuse me. Close the newspaper up. Okay, I know we've given you a lot of information on this DVD. So go back, check out the performances, find that perfect newspaper tear for you, and do it. On behalf of myself, Ben Salinas, and all of Magic Makers Incorporated, I'd like to thank you for buying this DVD. We'll catch you next time.